For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level. Welcome back once again to your lofty program, State of the Nation, where we hasten the motions for national development. And when it comes to national development, you're part of it too. This morning we are looking at a semi-crisis that is on our hands, a crisis that deals with our economy, a crisis that is global that should be an advantage for us, a crisis that is not an advantage but it is a disadvantage. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the oil price hike, fuel scarcity, and the Nigerian economy. Look at it from those three angles. The cost, the price of crude has gone up. Here in Nigeria, there is scarcity. Again, we look at our economy. How do all these parameters affect our economy? With me in the studio is none other than my brother, Dr. Austin Maho. My brother, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Bola. Always a pleasure to be here.
On a regular basis, I'm always interested in your insightful insights because Nigerians can learn from you. Mm-hmm. We share opinions because nobody has the prerogative of intellect, really.
Yeah.
At the same time, once we juxtapose our ideas, Nigerians will be able to learn, they will be able to form their own opinions. And then
we call it marketplace of ideas.
That's right. Marketplace of ideas. And
let's share ideas and let the best ideas prevail.
That's it. That's it. You heard from my opening that let's start from where the baseline. The price of oil has gone to about Brent crude, which is the benchmark worldwide, has gone to $140.
Amazing.
Amazing.
We should be celebrating.
We should be celebrating. But really, the question now becomes, are we celebrating? Is that $140 to our advantage? Let's look at that oil price first for start.
Yeah, we should be celebrating. Every time since Nigeria became an oil exporting country,
okay, we
have celebrated high or increase in the price of crude oil in the international market. We had our first oil boom in 1973.
Of course.
When the price of oil jumped from $5 per barrel because of the Arab-Israeli war,
that's
1973.
Right, 73. After the 67, yes. 70 and the one in 73.
73. It jumped suddenly to about $40.
That's right, yes, thereabout. Yes.
That's when the head of state then, General
Yakubu Gowon, said, we have so much money, we don't know what to do with it.
Nigeria's problem is not money.
It's not money.
You understand?
It's how to spend it.
It's how to spend it.
That was the beginning of our mistake.
So that was boom. At least we celebrated oil price increase.
Okay.
Oil price in the last 14, 15 years has never gotten to the stage it is today.
140.
140. The last time we had a boom was during Jonathan era.
It was 100 thereabouts.
Yes, 100, average $100. And surprisingly, if you pay attention to, why Buhari has always, the APC Buhari government has always told us that they are not performing. They've always blamed it on the downfall in oil prices, because immediately he came into office, oil prices plummeted.
So low, yes, it was bad.
It was bad to 25, 30, 40, and in the first 1, 2, 3 years, was averaging about $50 per barrel.
It was very low. We couldn't plan a good budget on that.
The APC administration, led by Buhari, used every opportunity at his disposal to bemoan the fate of his administration, as in, we don't have money. Look at the price of oil. And even querying the immediate past administration, when they had so much, coming to them from
what
the
did
press.
they do?
What did they do with it? Ironically, the chicken has come back
home to roost.
It has come to you now. Now you tell us, with high oil prices, you are still crying. You are crying.
Okay.
Because of some fundamental problem and structural problem within the downstream oil sector of the economy.
Good. We are going to move forward, and I hope you, our viewers back at home, you are enjoying our concept and our trajectory. Like my brother here rightly said, we should be jubilating as we speak that this is a boom for us, that the oil is now 140. But from all indications, it is not a boom to be happy about. We should be clapping, but we are not clapping.
We are sorry.
We are not clapping. And that is due to the fact that we are doing something now that they call DSDP arrangement, direct sale, direct purchase. Is that something that should happen in a normal country?
No, normally when I criticize the APC Buhari-led administration, I like to back it up with
facts and figures.
Facts, figure, and what they promised.
Okay, let's hear you.
It's on the basis of what you promise that I will hold you to.
Of course, yes.
And one of the promises, the downstream oil sector of the Nigerian economy has always had crisis. At least let's not blame it on the current administration alone. Let's say since this democratic era, at least in the last 22 years, has always been up and down. Our refineries have never worked.
That's one factor I want us to delve into.
Yes, our refineries have always worked. I've never worked.
You've never worked for Bola Bakare.
Yes, and the net effect is that every drop of refined petroleum product and associate product we consume in this country, a country of 200 million people, we import into the country.
It's a big shame.
We import mostly from Belgium. Belgium, a non-oil producing country.
What a shame.
With a population of
less than 10 million people.
Yes, just about 10 million, 11 million citizens. 200 million Nigerians with
all the technical knowledge that we have.
200 million Nigerians. Nigeria, the 5th largest producer of crude oil in the world, importing 80% of its refined petroleum products from a country that doesn't produce a drop of crude oil. A small country of about 10, 11 million people. We rely on them for all our, refined petroleum products. It's an irony, it's a shame. We should be ashamed. And when this government came into power, they identified this problem, and it was part of their manifesto. As in, look, we are going to fix the refineries, and we are going to build new refineries. So 7 years down the line, how many refineries have they built? Even the ones they met, they are comatose. And every year there's budgetary provision to run these non-functional refineries.
Let me throw a curve in what you just said now. Let me run it for Nigerians. There are 4 refineries in Nigeria: Kaduna, Warri,
Port Harcourt,
and 2 in Port Harcourt, which is 4. Fellow Nigerians,
with a combined capacity of about 650
barrels
per day.
Nigerians, our discourse is not just for us alone. It is we are juxtaposing ideas. We have 4 refineries that can generate 650,000 barrels of produce on a daily basis. And yet, nothing is happening, nothing is coming out of it. We spend TAM. TAM means turnaround maintenance. Turnaround maintenance funds are being given to these refineries in dollars, and nothing happens. We are paying the salaries of workers in billions. Nothing happens. Like what we had this morning on our morning brief, it's high time we sit back to what is called a sober reflection. Are we doing the right thing? What is wrong with us? There was a time a minister broached the idea that how come people are working here, if they are not doing anything, let's look for a way around it. Labour was quick to come out and say, no, you can't sack anybody. For God's sake, how will you pay people for 10, 20 years for doing nothing?
Nothing. We are not running a socialist
government. Are we
government.
sane? You pay somebody for 10, 20 years for doing nothing? My brother, go along those lines, please.
You understand? That's the unfortunate situation. These people, like you rightly said, they sit down there, they are doing nothing. We even heard that most of the equipment in these refineries are being purified. The essential one. You come to office, your mind is idle, you are not doing anything. What else are you thinking about? Okay, you see something valuable, a valuable piece of equipment within the refinery, you go and lose it and go and sell in the open market. That's some of the reports we've heard about what is going on, you know, with some of these facilities. And Nigerians, especially the civil society, the media, they should begin to question, because we have a role to play.
Yes.
In governance. Well, for crying out loud, you call us the fourth estate of the realm.
Of the
media.
right.
Of course, the other civil society organizations, they need to begin to question a situation whereby for 20 years, an institution, a government establishment, the refineries, you are pumping billions.
That is well funded.
However, while we are looking at this anomaly, we should equally look at the fact that we can say, okay, government has done the needful by signing into law last year, October, the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA now.
PIA.
Yes, which is supposed to rectify all this deficiency, you know.
Are you saying we are going to see a lot of good changes with the passage of this bill? That it is now an act, really.
It's now an act of the, yeah, we are supposed to see changes, because NNPC, the behemoth, has been broken down into several entities.
Workable divisions.
But at the end of the day, is it working? Because what we are looking at and how it affects the average Nigerian on the street is what we have been facing in the past 1 month, long queues in filling stations.
Now.
Then you now have the goose, NNPC, the goose that lays the national golden egg, which last month did not pay a dime into the federation account. And the governors are crying because NNPC, the state are insolvent. They can't even pay salaries. These are things we should pay attention to. Nigeria operates what economists call a one product. I can't get the exact term now. A one product economy. We ought to run the Nigerian economy depends entirely on oil. And when oil, petroleum, crude sales is not working, everything comes to a halt. That is what is playing out now with NNPC not being able to pay a dime. They didn't pay a dime, remit a dime into the federation account because they are telling you all funds that were generated.
With that crude, we have spent it
on subsidy.
On subsidy, on importation and subsidy.
Yes.
You see, that brings the element of this scarcity of petroleum products in the country. Honestly, it is a bad one that there is scarcity of these products. But that was with a school of thought that says, okay, our OPEC benchmark, or what we are supposed to produce in line with what OPEC says is about 1.2. Let's say 1.2 million barrels per day.
No, 2 point.
Is it 2 now?
Yes,
okay. Whichever way it is.
It's 2. Our normal production level is 2.1.
Okay. Be that
million barrels per day.
Be that as it may, shouldn't we, as the people, be able to do that simple math that, okay, half will be used, and then on this DSDP, direct sales, direct purchase, and then brought back here, while the remaining half is being spent on infrastructure development. Why is it so difficult for us to put up our refineries in good shape? Is there something wrong somewhere? There should be something wrong somewhere.
There's something wrong with somewhere. It's those that manages the affairs of this country. Because NNPC is seen mostly as...
Are they being like a bicycle?
As a cash cow. When you talk about NNPC, staff of NNPC, you know, we are not here to castigate
anybody. No. We are Nigerians. We are looking at the holistically.
Yes. We want to look at the issues. NNPC is not working. What we should be interrogating is why is NNPC not working? Then number two,
go ahead.
Why is it that when the price of crude oil is high, we are crying, which we started with?
We are not applauding.
Yes, the issue is simple, and we can narrow it down to 3 issues. One, there is no new investment
in
in
our
the
oil sector.
downstream sector, or upstream and downstream sector of the Nigerian oil industry. Simply, if you've been following the news recently and the cry of the group managing director of the NNPC PLC now, Mele Kolo Kyari, he has made some comments in recent time, which is in the news, that look, many of the big oil players, like the Shell, the BP, the Chevron, they are divesting. They are moving their investment out of the country. So if those that have already invested in the country are moving out their investment and selling
locally or internationally,
it means
there is a problem there.
There's a problem in the Nigerian downstream and upstream oil industry, especially downstream. Then number two, with no new investment, it means you cannot expand your production capacity.
We've been shrinking. We've not been expanding.
That means you cannot expand your production capacity. If you are even managing to do 2.1 million barrels a day, it means it will begin to drop because people are divesting. Those who are helping you to drill, they are moving away. Then number three, Nigeria, as it is today, from what I know, even that 2.1, that is our peak production capacity, and the OPEC quota
yes,
to Nigeria, which I think is about 1.8, we can't even meet it. Nigeria, as of today, based on what the Minister of State, Petroleum, Timi Priesira, said last week, Nigeria is just doing about 1.4.
With a shortfall of
1.4
close to 700,000 barrels
per day. So if you are not meeting your production quota, how can you take advantage of increase in price?
Even when we take the advantages, it's useless to us because we're going to spend it on something else.
Yes, because you are going to spend it on subsidy. Because one of the reasons why the price of the pump price of petroleum products will continue to go up, apart from the fact that we've devalued our currency, is that, let me say it's an effect of devaluation of the currency. You know, the last time we had fuel crisis like this, the naira to the dollar exchange rate was about 200. Now it's about 500. What we fail to realize, as long as you are importing refined petroleum products, you are required to buy it at dollar rate. You understand what I'm trying to say?
That's right.
You are required to buy.
You are listeners out there, you're listening and learning from this, because that is what affects us.
You are required to buy petroleum products at the same rate somebody in the United States or in Europe or even in Belgium that we are importing from to the same rate, because they spend dollar to bring it into the country. And at times when they talk about subsidy, what the federal government is telling you to do is to pay the differential. The differential in exchange rate between the naira and the dollar. So instead of you using dollar to pay, if a liter of fuel came into the country $1, which to an average European or American is small money, you are required to pay
500 plus
per liter. So that's where the problem is. That's why the consistent devaluation of the naira in the last 7 years is a big problem. It's a major problem to the crisis we are facing. So the way out of it is simple, if we are there yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Not until we revamp this revamp our local capacity to refine, this problem will always be there. Because if we are refining in-house, domestically,
this will be a boom time for us.
Yes,
this is a boom time
this is a boom time. You don't need to sell, get the dollar and give to refiners
outside there and then come back
and come back empty-handed.
Oh, what a shame!
And come back empty-handed.
What a shame!
And whatever would have you would have been the margin, you are now saying you are it's lost, or you are now mopping it to pay what they call subsidy.
I know we've talked about it, but I would like you to say it in concise words to fellow Nigerians that share this pain, this agony, this economic status that is not too good. I would like to ask you, because I believe one thing, for every positive thinker, if you can identify the problem you should be able to also say, okay, these are the probable solutions to it.
It's a problem, we can solve it. I always believe that if it is a problem, we can solve it.
And what do you think? You give us some pointers, because you know one thing about the media, like you said earlier, we are the fourth realm. What we are supposed to do is to say it as it is to the powers that be, yes. So that they can learn. What they don't know, we can imbibe it in them. So what do you say to them along those lines that, okay, mistakes are being made on a regular basis, there is scarcity, we are losing money, where there should be a boom, there is no, it's a blast.
It's a doom.
It's a doom. So what do we do? What do we do? We share some insights, not just with Nigerians, but with the powers that be.
The powers that be, as the media will go on holding them accountable.
Of
and
course,
like you rightly said, pointing the way. Let them see the problem. Let them see how the average Nigerian is suffering. Let them see the manpower that is being lost queuing in filling stations.
Sleeping overnight.
Yes, it has implication on the national economy in
of
general.
Course.
When what time I should have spent on productive venture, I'm spending it on pursuing or queuing the filling station to go and look for fuel. So those problems are there. See, we are living in denial if we say there's no problem in our oil industry, and the government.
We're leading ourselves.
Yes,
the problem,
we need to focus on it, and how to focus on this problem and deal with it. And how do we? For me, one way of dealing with this problem is we should begin to use data at times to solve our problem. Like for instance, we don't know how, because it's as a result of time, we may not have time to really look at the whole issue. Look. Over time, I know, for instance, that as Nigerians or as policymakers, we don't even know the number of cars in Nigeria that uses this so-called petroleum product. That is why today they will tell you that we are consuming 35 million liters.
They give an arbitrary figure.
Yes. Later, within 1 month, they will now say it's 65 million liters. Before you know, they will tell you it's 90 million. You know, the figures are never stable. It is because we are not able to know how many cars are on the road on a daily basis in Nigeria. When you know how many cars, you can do the average calculation and say an average car consumes so and so liters per day. We don't have that data. So those who are in charge of the system are able to manipulate it in such a way.
And give us wrong figures about the increase.
So increase in consumption. So nobody questions them. You understand? Then two, when you say you are paying subsidy, you don't even know where the subsidy is going to. At times they tell you that we are subsidizing neighboring countries, because most of the petroleum product that is coming into the country end up in Benin, Togo, Ghana, Chad,
Nigeria, and the rest
and all that. Then you begin to ask the question, over the years, this has been the excuse. And when you look at this problem, I have always said, is it not, if our neighboring countries are a problem to us, is it practically impossible, to manage the situation? Are men of the Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian
and
Army,
other institutions of government,
are they not manning this, this porous border? If in the worst case scenario, for the over 20, 30 years we've been talking about this problem, build a wall. Let's build a wall over our border.
Want to turn us to China?
Build a wall.
Okay,
the wall will solve our security problem, it will solve our economic problem, it will even solve our political problem. You understand? Build a wall. And another, I feel that we need data in solving the problem. We need data to solve the problem. We actually need to know what is our consumption level of petroleum product, and government, of course, need to be sincere about ramping up domestic production of refined petroleum product to deal with
like you rightly said, one program is not enough for us to tidy up these humongous problems we have on our hands. At the same time, I would like to tell fellow Nigerians, one big thank you to our guest here, Dr. Austin Mao, for sharing his insights with us. And for you, the powers that be, he's been able to throw some insights at you. And to you, our viewers out there, don't go away.